we had a ton of problems when we were scaling our wholesale company. These problems cost us what we call opportunity costs, which is the cost that we can't track on paper. The only thing we can track is the time that we lost. Number one is a lead mentality. Now, this hurt us a lot in the beginning of our company when it was just my partner and I. However, when we first got into the industry, we had a lead provider. They provided us leads. We paid no upfront costs, and they took 30% at the closing. It was a good deal, and we were locking up these deals, and this is actually how we did, in 6 months, $250,000 of revenue. So then, later down that year, after we stabilized the cold calling, we then got into Google ad campaigns utilizing PPCs and also delved into PPLs. Now, when we got on these PPC and PPL campaigns, we started to notice that these were just like those leads that we used to get prior. Those were inbound leads. And the reason in which we weren't locking up the same rate as we were locking up before was because we had now switched to outbound leads. Please don't make fun of me. Maybe this is common sense, but we were just getting started in the business. And as I talk about it out loud, I'm embarrassed to even speak of it. But we found out that this entire time, that was the reason. In which, when my partner and I switched to PPC, that same quarter we did $250,000 in revenue. Not in 6 months, but now in 3 months. This was our biggest mistake that we made, which is what's gonna tie into what I call an opportunity cost. The minute we hired our first acquisition reps, we put them onto the leads that we were paying thousands of dollars for a month, and we were training on them, instead of us doing what's called second round leads or giving them dead leads. Now what we do to avoid this is we build a dead lead list. Now, it's not really dead leads. These are just leads that maybe we couldn't get a hold of, or they just weren't ready to sell at the time and say, catch me in 6 months. We build a list of these leads, and when we bring new acquisition reps on, we train them on these leads, and only until they squeeze the juice out of them do we go ahead and do it. And that's also something that we had to learn as well, because when you're a sales rep and you go ahead and you hire people, you immediately turn into a manager. And being a sales rep and being a sales manager are two completely different skill sets. And that's something that we had to learn the hard way. When you're training sales reps, you have to genuinely understand someone's human nature, what works for them, what doesn't work for them, when to fire them, when to keep them on, and how to incentivize these people, how to build scripts, how to do KPIs, how to hold these people accountable, and most importantly, how to be there for them. You're gonna need to have a deeper level of empathy when you're training and building up these sales reps, especially a deeper level of patience, because they're not gonna be like how you are overnight. They're going to take time, especially in our industry. We don't see results until 3 to 4 months that our AC reps are really doing what they're supposed to be doing. And you have to have the patience for that. First 3 months, we had our acquisition reps on, they were causing problems, they weren't locking up the leads, and we got rid of them and hopped back on ourselves. That was because, like I said earlier, if we would have just put them on the second round leads, trained them on that, and we were still on our high paid leads and still having that income come in, we wouldn't have been in such a scarcity mindset, and we would have had the patience to train these people up to KPI and then switch ourselves off in a smooth transition, which is what we're doing now. We could have beaten ourselves up and said, wow, we wasted all this time. We should have just went straight to inbound leads, like how we had with the service provider. Why do we have to go through all of this just to get back to where we were? However, that is the wrong way to think about this. Because we went to those outbound leads and built that cold calling, we then learned how to generate leads. We then actually built an in-house cold calling company for ourselves to go ahead and get higher quality leads. We learned how to build acquisition reps off of what are the hardest leads. Inbound, majority of people can learn pretty quickly on closing. Those are high motivation. They're raising their hand and saying yes. Outbound, you're gonna have to go out and get them. So we were able to build this team that we have today off of pure hunger and grit. And now that we put them on these leads, they're grateful for them. And on top of that, we now weren't calling. We had a full-blown team of a lead manager taking all the leads, setting the appointments. We had acquisition reps closing these deals better than we were. God damn it. And we had a full disposition team selling the deal and a transaction coordination team coordinating the deal to closing. We had a full company built out, along with now bringing this powerhouse of a lead source back into our company. So everything happens for a reason. Folks, those are my lessons for you. Maybe they were very common sense, but fuck, we had to learn the hard way. So the point of this video was so that you didn't have to. If you have any questions, my information is in the description. Till then, folks, take care.